What's up, ladies? Coach Shawna here. Today I am going to talk about something I get asked almost daily. How do I lose weight in CrossFit? Before I get into it, let me introduce myself a little bit more. I'm a nutrition coach through Precision Nutrition. I'm a CrossFit coach and a competitive CrossFit athlete. I've been in CrossFit for almost 9 years. I've been a nutrition coach for almost 5 years, and I work with mainly women. Now you know a little bit about me. Let's talk about what this video is going to do for you. Today I'm going to teach you how to build sustainable nutrition habits while performing in the sport that you love. We're going to talk about what those sustainable habits look like and how, when you apply them consistently, they will lead themselves to weight loss as a side effect of those awesome habits. And the coolest part, I'm going to teach you how to not only lose the weight, but keep it off for the rest of your life. Ready? Let's go. Sustainable habits. What the F are they? Sustainable habits are things that we can implement in your daily life that you enjoy, that are repeatable, and that are realistic. Any one of those, take that out, and it becomes a diet. If I ask you to eat lettuce for the rest of your life, that's not very sustainable, right? You're gonna probably perish pretty quickly because lettuce has like no calories to it. I want these habits to be things you enjoy because I want you to be able to do them when you're 90 and you're excited about them. I want them to be realistic because your life needs to be realistic, and they have to be repeatable because I want you to take this nutrition system and be able to do it 10 years from now without even blinking an eye. What do these sustainable habits look like? I want you eating mostly whole foods. 70 to 80%. What's a whole food? We're talking fruits, veggies, meat, eggs, milk. Why do whole foods matter? Because you could eat these eggs, which have about 500 calories in them, or this steak, potato, and salad, which has about 500 calories in it. Which is going to make you stay fuller longer? Which do you think has more vitamins and minerals to it? Which do you think is better for you? If you ate these eggs 3 meals a day, how much crap would you feel like? Versus if you ate this meal 3 times a day, how good would you feel? The quality of your food matters. And in line with your whole foods, I want you getting adequate protein intake. What does that mean? We'll talk about numbers in a little bit, but I really want a protein source at every meal and at most snacks. I want you eating your vegetables. I want you getting 3 to 5 servings of vegetables a day. A serving is a fist or a cup. I want you getting adequate carbohydrates for your activity level and your needs. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I want you getting good sleep, 7 to 9 hours every night. We're going to go over that in more detail. And I want you minimizing alcohol as best you can. I'd like you to keep that to 1 to 2 drinks once a week. Alcohol is in fact a toxin. And then I want you to stop dieting. I know, that's a big one. Why do I want you to stop dieting? Because if you had taken all of that time that you dieted and lost the weight and then gained it back and instead developed sustainable habits, you probably wouldn't be watching this video right now because you'd already have sustainable habits that lend itself to managing a body composition and a body weight that you feel good in. One of the things that we can do to help you stop dieting is recognizing that I don't want you restricting your calories during the week and saying screw it on the weekends. I want you to limit your treat meal, not cheat meal, treat meal, to 1 to 2 meals a week. These are meals that you get to enjoy that are not necessarily following any of the rules and guidelines that I've provided, except you still got to eat your vegetables. And they're meals that you enjoy free. You can have a sundae afterwards. You can have some cookies. You know, if you feel like you've eaten too much bread, we've got you paying attention to your portion sizes because you downloaded the nutrition guide, which I'll talk about later, and you went over your carbs for the day. A treat meal allows you to have a little bit more carbs in your day. It's okay to treat yourself occasionally. If you stick to these habits consistently, you will lose weight. I guarantee if you adhere to these simple things and stop dieting, over time, your body composition will change. Next, we're going to talk about the vegetables I want you to eat, the protein that I want you to get in, and carbohydrates and why they're not the enemy. And then we'll go over sleep a little bit, and then we'll conclude, and you'll be on your path to building sustainable habits that help you crush your workouts, crush your life, and make you feel amazing. We talked about sustainable habits. What was one of the things that I brought up first? Whole foods. And what was one of the things I talked about in whole foods? Vegetables. I have a reputation with my clients where I just tell them, eat your effing vegetables. And most of them roll their eyes, probably like you're doing now, and hate me. I'm okay with that. Why am I okay with that? Because I know that I am making healthy human beings when I tell you to eat your vegetables. Now you're saying, but Shawna, I hate my vegetables. They're a pain in the ass to eat. They're a pain in the ass to cook. They're not fun. I get that. First, you're an adult. So sometimes we have to do things that are not fun. Second, you don't have to eat steamed broccoli if you don't like steamed broccoli. You can eat your vegetables in a salad covered in ranch. You can eat it on pizza. You can eat them in pasta. You can make roasted broccoli with a sprinkle of olive oil and garlic and salt and pepper. You can have cucumbers with hummus. You can have carrots with fat-free Greek yogurt and ranch dressing. It's one of my favorites because I don't really like carrots that much, but carrots have a ton of nutritional value to them, and I want to live until at least 100, and I want to do CrossFit, and I want to keep these muscles, and I want to keep my eyes and my brain healthy. You've got to eat your vegetables, team. 3 to 5 servings a day. What's a serving? It's about a cup. It's about a fist, okay? I'm going to talk about the hand method later on. You're going to download your guide. It's going to tell you need to get 3 to 5 fists a day of veggies. You can do it. Eat your vegetables. There's some links below for recipes. Check them out. You can do it. I believe in you. You've conceded. You're eating your vegetables. Now, protein. This is the second thing that I always work on with my female athletes when we're working on building sustainable nutrition habits. This is going to be something that is crucial now and crucial as you go through menopause into your later years. Not older years, later years, your better years. So I want my female athletes eating 1 gram per pound of body weight each day in protein. What that means is if you're a 150-pound woman, I want you eating about 150 grams of protein. Now, there's some tips and tricks in a link down below. I'm also going to go over in a little bit how to figure out how much that is using your hand as a portion guide. But I want you to understand the why behind this choice. Now, you may have been taught that if we consume protein and we don't use it, our body excretes it out. That is not a true statement. So when our body breaks down protein, we have a waste product, nitrogen, which is eliminated, okay? But one of the coolest things about protein is if you were to eat, say, 250 grams of protein and your body didn't need that 250 grams, its default is to use that protein to make extra lean muscle mass. Whereas if you were to overeat fat, your body just stores that as fat. So protein is one of those things that it takes a lot of energy to break down, which means it's work for your body, which means you're using calories to break it down. It helps you stay satisfied. So if you eat a meal with protein in it, your blood sugar is not going to spike like you would if you ate a donut. It's going to slowly go up, and then it's going to level off and stay in between meals versus, again, like if you ate 3 donuts, your blood sugar is going to spike, and then an hour later it's going to drop, and then you're going to be hungry again. So protein helps you stay satiated or satisfied longer. And if you are in a carbohydrate depleted state, your body can use protein to make glucose. So there's lots of awesome things about it and lots of reasons why you need to be getting an adequate amount. And again, especially as a woman setting yourself up for your later years, build this habit now. It is so important. So 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein per day. And we'll talk about how to make that happen in a little bit. Last one is carbohydrates. Now, I'm going to try not to turn this portion into its own hour-long segment because, man, can I go crazy about carbs. They've been vilified.
Is butter a carb? Yes.
We're taught incorrectly how they work, and often as women, both from a weight loss standpoint and as from a training standpoint, we avoid eating them. And then we all have those friends that have done low carb or ketogenic or the carnivore diet, right? And they talk about how amazing they feel and they've gotten shredded and they've lost weight. And yeah, if you want to get shredded, you have to cut your carbs so your body uses fat, blah, blah, blah. All right. Let me tell you just a couple quick things before we talk about why you need to be eating an adequate amount of carbohydrates per day. Back in like the 1950s, they found that they thought that fat caused heart disease. And so we transitioned to a low-fat, high-carbohydrate diet. But what happened is we weren't eating carbs from good fuel sources like fruit, right? They started making processed foods. And a lot of times they had to make those foods extra sweet because they took out fat. So we transitioned from a time when we were eating more whole foods to a time when we were eating more processed foods, at a time when we were working more, spending more time in front of screens, the TV, and then the computer, and then the phone. We started spending less time with family and friends. We were having TV dinners. We were working more in general, sleeping less, and then our lives became more sedentary because we started to automate so many things. We had elevators and escalators and dishwashers and automatic laundries, and everybody started driving a car, right? So our processed sugar intake went up while our activity level went down and our stress levels went up, which set us up to be in the situation we are at now. So, carbohydrates are not bad. The wrong carb source at the wrong time is not ideal, and eating too many carbohydrates when you're not super active is not good, okay? You want to eat a certain amount of carbohydrates for your activity level. If you're sedentary, you don't need too many carbs. If you're super active, you need more carbs. Now, our sport, CrossFit, is referred to as a carbohydrate-dependent sport. That means that when you go to do a pull-up or an Olympic lift or a sprint on the assault bike, you are using primarily carbohydrates as fuel, okay? If you don't have carbs, your body has to make them because carbs are broken down into glucose. And here I go nerding out. Sorry, guys. So glucose is what our body uses to do everything, okay? Your body will take protein and fat and make glucose if carbohydrates aren't there to make it. So when you go into the gym, I want you fueled on carbohydrates so your body doesn't have to go, wait a second, let me make some carbs. It already has them in your blood ready to go. It's going to make you be able to push harder in your fitness, and as a result, when you get done training, your metabolism is going to be up because you got to work harder. You fueled your training, so your body is set up to recover well, and things like a normal menstrual cycle and sleep are going to be better because you're giving your body what it needs to be able to perform those functions. I often have to, if I have a client who's sleeping poorly or who has a irregular menstrual cycle, I have to get her eating more carbohydrates because lack of carbs over time stresses our bodies out.
So you like donuts, eh? Well, have all the donuts in the world!
I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to calculate your macros relative to you. So if you need to stop now and not watch the rest of the video, I understand. However, I am going to give you how to figure that out. You're going to go to precisionnutrition.com/nutrition calculator. There you're going to enter your information and it is going to provide a personalized guide to you and to your goals. If you put in weight loss, it's going to cut your calories quite a bit. If you put in body composition, it's going to show you how to eat a fair amount of protein and a decent amount of carbs to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. If you put in athletic performance, it's going to give you maintenance calories. It's also going to introduce you to the hand method, which the hand method aligns with my belief system and sustainable habits because we're not tracking calories per se, we're just being mindful of how we eat day to day. It's also going to give you some insight into being mindful when you eat, eating to 80%, eating slowly, all those fun things that we don't want to fuss about, but will be extremely impactful in setting you up to have sustainable habits for the rest of your life. I would fail, I think, as a nutrition coach if I didn't talk about sleep. And you might be saying, well, I don't get it. I want to know about my food, and you're talking about sleep. Here's the deal. If you are chronically underslept, so if you're sleeping 4 to 6 hours a night and you're doing that habitually, you are raising your cortisol levels. When you raise your cortisol levels because you're stressing your body out because it's not getting sleep, your cortisol says to your body, hey, I need sugar because this is a stress mechanism and I need to run away from the lion. Like, this is why chronic stress is so bad, because those chronic cortisol levels are constantly telling your system to give me sugar. But running away from the lion is like a one-time deal, right? Like, you run away and then you climb up the tree and you're good. Or maybe someone else slays the lion. It isn't something that should be happening all day, every day. If you are underslept, your cortisol levels are up. If your cortisol levels are up, your immune system is out of whack, you're craving sugar, and ultimately your body is going to store fat. So, what do I want you doing about your sleep? I want you getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. It isn't unrealistic if you prioritize it. Get off of your phone, get off of the computer, set up a sleep schedule that is realistic for you, and make yourself go to bed. You're an adult, you can do it. I want you to be making sure that you have a bedtime routine that allows you to fall asleep. So Precision Nutrition, one of the coolest points that I think they've ever made is when you get out of bed, you don't go from 0 to 100, right? We all love, for the most part, I think we all love slow mornings. You at least want 45 minutes to an hour to kind of just wake up and do your day. It's the same thing at night. You're not going to go from 100 to 0 in 10 minutes because then you're sitting in bed and you're like, ah!
You like guacamole?
You need time to unwind. You need time to downregulate. I want you turning off your phone at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. I want you chilling out, doing some stretches, maybe reading a book, turning the lights down, having quiet conversations. If you're someone who goes to bed and then thinks about all of the things you have to do the next day, do a brain dump. Have a notebook before you go to bed and write out everything you're thinking about so that when you get into bed and your brain starts to go, blah, 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 you're like, stop thinking. We have one job to do right now, and it's sleep. All right, so what are you going to do? You're going to start sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night. If 7 hours seems impossible, start there. Just shoot for that. Get a consistent sleep routine, and then we'll build you up to longer sleep as we go on. All right? You can do this, I promise. If you made it to the end, I recognize I covered a F ton of information. As I mentioned earlier, there are links below in the Precision Nutrition nutrition calculator to figure out how to eat for your goals. There's some information on the different diets and the pros and cons. And there's a little bit of information on some of the things I touched on, i.e. Vitamins, your menstrual cycle. In the future, I will be providing content more specifically to these things. Again, I will do one on menopause and nutrition. We'll go into more depth on your menstrual cycle and nutrition. I'm going to teach you how to create your carbohydrates and your nutrition around your training. And if you go to the Precision Nutrition website, there's also some fantastic articles on that. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel if you want more content like this. Feel free to ask any questions you have. Provide comments down below. I would love to help you on your nutrition journey. And thank you so much for sticking to the end and watching this video. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.